That's so hilarious. What is going on here? Invalid URL. Oh, I got a third one? Ah, this one. Yeah, that one's no good. We'll delete that one. We don't need that. All right. So how's everybody doing? I had to come see if everything was working right. It says it's having trouble playing the video, it looks like. Let's see. There it is. All right, cool. See if it's working okay. Yeah, it sure is. Okay. Are we out on YouTube? Let's see. I gotta get into the right account. I'm out at Leland Best's live video, which I'm going to change that up to Leland's Best here before long. I've been meaning to. Let's see if I got something on the account. Whoops. Just give me a moment. I probably won't be watching a lot of chat, so if you want to see what's really going on, yeah, there we go. It says I'm live. That's funny, it's showing. Okay, cool. I just wanted to get it out on here first so I can see what we've got. Not using AIO Relay for this. So let me get to the right page. I want to be able to follow you guys up on this at least a little bit. If I see any comments, I'll do what I can to accommodate. Get it? Accommodate. Do I get to see the chatter on this one? I think I can. It's live. It shows the video. I'll show the comment. There's the comment feed. Okay, cool. Now we're good. I'm just going to leave it like that. I can actually watch the closed captioning and everything over on that side. So, let me make sure I got volume and audio over here. I think I do. Let's see what we got. Yeah, now we're good. I'm just going to leave it like that. I can actually watch the closed captioning. Oh, I was looping it big time. Because I was listening on another version. Double check. Test 1 2, test 1 2. Because I'm hearing my other videos. I want to make sure. Test 1 2, test 1 2. So far, so good. Okay, I'm going to mute the audio on both of these. Make sure I don't send any audio back that I don't want to. I still feel like I'm getting something in my ear. Let me just close that. There, perfect. All right, no more audio coming in my head. So welcome to the broadcast. It's been a while. Leland Best of Best Live TV, Best AI TV, and a few other things that I do on the regular. You'll usually see my brand come across your screen, something like this. Or it might be in a circle with a silver band around it. I use that same silver circle band around AIO as well. And what we've been working on over the last several months is kind of exciting. I'm all worked up about it, I'll be honest. Let me just go grab something here. I got a lot of things going in different windows, so I'm going to let you guys see what's going on. So close down all this other stuff. Jenna's messaging me and letting me know probably that my thing is echoing like crazy. Nope. Okay. I'm going to get some screen share going here in just a moment once I make sure everything's working well. I think I'm good on all the audio and everything. If I do miss your comments, I apologize, but leave them anyway. I will respond to them at the end of the broadcast. I was hoping to get this up and running before the AI could complete the refactor, and I would step you through everything that I was going to do, but I didn't get the chance. It actually finished everything before I managed to start the broadcast, which really freaked me out because I was not expecting that. Let me tell you what I had to do with AIO Relay before, and tell you what AIO Relay is before we really get too far along. But I want to get to the point where we started this refactor this morning so that we could get to v2.0, and I think we already have. So let me just go back far. It's a lot of code, and that's why I thought it was going to take a lot longer than it did. So there we go. All right, we're right there's step one. I want to get to the prompt that I needed to generate before we got going. Man, it was back there a ways. That's insane how much conversation he had with himself. That's the one thing. I'm using a different variant. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, there's the handoff. Okay, let's start from there. So here we are. I know you guys are probably seeing things in a little light because I'm not always looking at the screen. I've got 3 monitors in front of me, so I'm going to be kind of back and forth each way as I do this. But I want you guys to see how I'm building out AIO Relay. And first thing I want to do here, oops, I got the 11 on there for some reason. Okay, what happened here? Whoa, tripping. Somehow I got the full screen over here and I can't get it back down. Hold on. Oh, lordy, lordy. What are you doing here? Huh. It's weird. It's like it just decided to go full screen on me and not give me a way out. Wow, what happened to... Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's close off some other video frames here and we'll get to it. Alright, we're here. I'm still hearing some weird echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's like I got a video playing somewhere in a screen. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I don't have like Facebook running in 10 different places because I probably do. Yep, that's what's going on here. Okay. All right, let's head over to AIORelay.us is where you're going to find the website for this particular appliance that we've built over the last 6 months. And I'll tell you why we did it. Because we received a letter one day in the email from Stage10.tv that said, "Dear live streamer," only at the time it was "Dear Best Live TV." Said, and this is word for word verbatim, "After more than 10 years of serving creators and merchants, our platform will be going offline today." Literally, today. We don't look at this at the as the end, but rather a new beginning. We're still innovating, pushing the technical boundaries of live streaming and interactive and shopping formats. You won't recognize us, but we'll recognize you, the creator, the entrepreneur, the interactive entertainer. We want to thank you for your loyalty and creativity and entrepreneurial spirit. While your accounts will no longer be active and the platform will no longer be available, we hope you'll find a new home for your live streaming, and we wish you every success. The live stream team. Just like that. Just shut it off. And I'm still hearing that. All right, hold on a second, guys. I got some bleed out of audio somewhere, and I do not know where it's at. I know it's here somewhere. Okay, hold on. I got those 2 tabs muted. Check 1, 2. I hear it now. Oh, my speaker was just loud enough if I yell I could hear it. Okay. So that was the letter we received. I had hundreds of videos on that platform. I was the man who helped them achieve or obtain, I should say, some of their angel funding so that they could even get that platform off the ground. Got a call from Dave one day. He said, "Dave, I would like you to sit down and talk to my investors and let them know that live streaming is a good investment and why." And I did. And he got the money. And he gave me an enterprise account, which was worth about $800 a month. And so I used that account for several years. That started back in 2016, 17. I forget what year it was that I got that account. And thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Worked with some of the other team members alongside of them. Some have gone in other directions. One of them now runs the Video Ninja platform. Sean over there is a great gentleman, really technically oriented. But I realized right away that I had suddenly lost my ability to multicast and syndicate my work outside of just using vMix, which the interface on vMix, if you've ever seen the stream interface, it's not much. Okay, let me just kind of give you an idea, I guess, of what that looks like. When you go to create a multiple stream on Facebook, you get this box here. Okay, you can create basically a profile for that setup, which is you can stream to up to 5 destinations using the app. You can do a drop down and decide what destination you're going to go to, which are several, lots. Doesn't matter which ones, there's a lot of them. And you can add the stream key. That one's no good anymore, by the way, just so you know. You can log into your accounts. So if it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, you can do a OAuth login and get those things straightened up and then just select the pages that you're going to stream to. but it's not much. There's nothing here. There's no real configuration. There's no way to change anything except for the quality of the stream by a drop down that you can't choose while you're live, for one. It locks everything, so there's nothing you can do besides that. You can check the status of the stream and see some of the stuff as far as the log files go and keep an eye on what's going on there, but that's a little technical. It's not for everybody. And then from that, that's it. That's really all you have. There's no other way to do anything with it. And that was part of my problem. I was like, you know, Stage 10 had a nice little interface where you could log in to whatever account you wanted to, similar to that, and set them up ahead of time. So that you didn't, and you're doing that in vMix as well. Okay, don't get me wrong. Each time you open that streaming setup box, you can save these and close this, and then each time any of these profiles you set up, you could go to, whether they're business-based, brand-based, page-based, however you wanted to create these profiles, or user-based. You know, you have a bunch of users using the same vMix system or something that come in regularly and they stream to the same platforms or different platforms. They use a different profile. So that was the intent. Well, we knew that had to remain. We needed profiles per se and things like that, but we wanted a utility app. I wanted something I could just take and apply either on the machine I was streaming from or from a remote machine. So that's why it's called Relay. It gives us the ability to shoot the signal across an internal network and then broadcast it from another PC, which is the way most game streamers work. It's how I stream all of my games over here at Best Live TV. When I go to Spitfire on YouTube, I'm using my game machine, and then you connect a live feed out of your HDMI port from your video card into a capture card on a secondary machine. It's the most appropriate connection for something like that. With NDI in the mix now, we can do it that way across IP, which gives the same result. Not as stable as what you would get from a capture card, because you're talking all hardware in that case, which is really the preferred method. But I knew there was the need from that. You're capturing it to the other machine through hardwire connections, but then you still have to broadcast out from that other machine, and that machine takes over all of the overhead responsibility of getting the stream out to the platform. So that gives you that much less overhead on the machine you're gaming from. Trying to stream from a gaming machine while you're gaming is pretty complicated if you don't have a really heavy-duty machine, which most good gamers do have. But for your everyday Joe who just wants to go play and have some fun with their friends and actually stream and hope maybe someday they'll be a game streamer, their start point isn't a 5090 with a Ryzen 9 or whatever. That's what I'm running, a Ryzen 9 with the older system, still on a 2060 Super on one machine and a 2080 Ti on another. That's not an issue for me. I'm not over here building AI LLMs, so I do some local LLMs still with the stuff that I use, and it works just fine. Do I need some upgrades? Absolutely. But my point is, I want to build to that level so that people are compatible, so that if somebody comes into the system and they're on a lesser machine, that it still works for them. Because I think with the cost of RAM and everything that's going on right now, there's a lot of people that have older machines that aren't going to be able to upgrade. It's just the sad truth of everything right now, and I hate to see it that way, but that's the way things are going. So what I wanted to do at AIO Relay was build something one-time price that people could break the SaaS toll with, okay? So the idea was to build it local first instead of doing it in the cloud. Now, this may look like a cloud app per se, but it's not really what it is. If you look at it for what it is, it's a utility, okay? The bottom tray that you're looking at, this is actually an older graphic, and I'll show you the newest version of it here in a moment. Because I'm going to install it while you guys are here. This was what started out as just kind of a pet project, but I needed it as well because I needed a way to multi-broadcast. So I decided I was going to build it with these basic drag and drop cards. You guys are familiar with Kanban boards, okay? So the idea behind it was to have a card that represented the stream location, a platform rail that people would drop those cards on. So if you were going to stream to YouTube, you could put a streaming card in your destination aisle for YouTube, and that would help you monitor whatever feeds you had going to YouTube, and any feeds you had going to Facebook, and any feeds you had going to LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitch, or even a custom feed as well. So we covered the bases as much as we could with every capability FFmpeg could put in front of you at its demand, so that you could use it in a way that maybe you're not used to using it, and I don't think a lot of people understand some of the capabilities that FFmpeg actually has. So just to go over some of the, and I'm going to open the app here in just a moment so you guys can actually get a feel for how this looks and feels. And it has changed, so you're not going to see it for what it is. And we have to do some testing anyway on the latest build. So what was the purpose behind AIO Relay? It was mostly about letting local beat the SaaS, okay? Because a lot of people are sick of paying monthly fees for everything. I mean, my God, everything we do now has a monthly fee. Because SaaS created this monster that allowed people to just go and build things and then charge a monthly fee for everything they built. I remember the day when we used to buy software, and it was you would buy it, you would install it, and you owned it, and you would get free lifetime upgrades to that software for the entire period of its production. That was the way. And if it was a major upgrade, yeah, you'd do a release update, and you would have to pay for something. Like if you went from, say, if you bought into the app and it was version 1.2, okay, and they worked on that in version 1.3, version 1.4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you came to version 2. Some really, well, good companies that are making good money will say, okay, you guys are fine. You'll just continue to get free upgrades for the life of the product. And that's the way I think I'll operate here at AIO. Others will say once you reach a certain pinnacle life cycle of so many versions, you're going to have to pay, like vMix, for instance. You have the ability to pay for the main system, and then you have a 2-year license, I think it is originally, and then it's every year after that. If an upgrade comes in, and you haven't paid the $60, I think it is, for that particular upgrade, then you're going to have to pay for the next series of upgrades, which isn't a bad deal. I mean, you pay $1,200 for the software, and then you're paying a very minimal amount for the updates. And I'm okay with that in a lot of cases where significant upgrades are being performed on the software. In a case like AIO Relay, it's a relay tool. It's not going to have a lot of significant upgrades after version 2. And who knows? I mean, there's going to be things that are going to pop up, but let me kind of talk about why we're going to version 2 so quickly. Mostly because of software that's going away completely, and we don't want to be left behind in doing that. Version 1.2's operational core was pretty solid, and it still is. I'm going to be operating on version 1.2 here shortly, but we have a new branch that we just put on the repo, which is version 2 using LiveForge over Node Media Server. So we had a lot of really cool stuff going on here, and we'll show you here in just a minute how it works. But on the website, you can see the quick start guide. You can check out some of the content from the home page, and actually, if you scroll down right under the what's inside, you'll find the install guide, the technical specs on the app, and some commentary for streamers, basically why a streamer would use this app over any of the others out there. And it's, again, this doesn't replace OBS yet. Okay, I'm working on that potential, but I'm not trying to rebuild OBS or anything like that. I'm trying to build an appliance tool that can be utilized with these other apps like vMix, like OBS, but it can also work on its own. I feel a sneeze coming on, so if I have to sneeze, I apologize. I've been pretty susceptible with the pollen and everything coming around these last few days here on the river. So right now, we have an app that runs RTMP. It's basically an ingest monitor that shows you what's going on as the feed comes in. It's got an audio monitor as well. And then, of course, the streaming locations. You've got full bandwidth monitoring, and then some controls over flushing caches, changing up some of the ingests, reloading the ingest, basically, because HLS is a frame-driven monitoring system. It creates frames from the video and then distributes those frames to the monitor so you can see it as confidence. But what we're going to end up doing here is give you the ability to also change up a lot of the server settings while the event's live. And that can be used for a lot of different things. It could be signal quality. It could be just resolution as a whole is eating up too much bandwidth because you added some more relays to it. Because that's one thing we were also considering here is the ability to parallel or basically daisy chain these things together, though you're going to lose not necessarily signal quality, but you would lose a lot of latency in doing it that way. So we weren't necessarily building these to be interconnected relays, but rather like a point of ingest and then an expansion point where you could just spread that signal out to several other places. So in this case, you're going to find all the updates we've done recently. We try to remain as transparent as possible on the website so that you guys can see exactly what we're doing. Since version 1.0, which was back in February, we finished the build then, and then we've updated into 2.0. Every one of those little tweaks that we did to it since then is here. We also kind of track our accomplishments and failures. I do this at the end of each prompt. When I'm handing off the prompt from one agent to another, I usually ask the agent to summarize its accomplishments and failures, because a lot of times while we're out here coding and vibe coding, you run into a lot of problems with the code, or the agent's just not doing what you want it to do, or it messes up other code that it wasn't supposed to touch, things like that. So we want to identify those breakpoints in, why did we have such a problem with this version? We can go back and kind of follow up and say, oh yeah, I remember now, we had an entire refactor because the agent went off the rails and wiped out this entire module that we had all tied in, and it now doesn't work the way it used to. We have that problem sometimes, not okay, it's more occasionally than anything. It's not a regular occurrence, but it can happen. We also like to give you guys ideas on the known gaps in the system, so that if there are some things that we need to contend with later, most of this stuff is really about what we keep locked down and what we don't. We're not building SOC 2 compliant software over here. This is just utility software. These are things that people can use. Now, in a live streaming app like this, there are cases that could be called out as possible ingest points for malicious actors to come into play, but that's because of that's why we made it local. Okay, so the person that is doing the attacking would have to access your local network in order to do so. So we're not giving them external access to your network in any way, shape, or form, so that leaves the software perfectly safe. But the idea is, if they do have that access to your internal network, then our software could be compromised. That's all we're saying. Roadmap and timeline. Within the last 7 days back then, we were looking at, doing this one. I got to make sure this is hilarious. Maintain dynamic. This is funny. All right. It's basically trying to show how some of the things I was doing at the time between me and the agent got logged out of the website, and that's okay. It does that sometimes. We had taken out the T-bar. Okay, that's all gone now. I'm going to get rid of that. The control surface integration model for Stream Deck is still in the work. We haven't even touched that yet. We're not even looking to touch that yet, because that's actually a complicated lift to build something for Stream Deck. And here I am on the website. If you're interested in where I'm at, I'm over at the status page. The deferred and parked stuff that show here isn't necessarily deferred and parked anymore, but the one big one that we were holding on to for a long time was this right here, because we were considering Node Media Server v4, okay, but there was a problem there, and it's because the version we were using, I think, is 2.4. Let's go into that for a second. I wanna go cover Node Media Server for a second. Okay, let me see if you guys are here. All right, good. So Node Media Server, NMS as it's openly known, is an open source high performance live streaming server implemented in Node.js. It allows you to build custom streaming platforms that can ingest live video from sources like OBS or FFmpeg and distribute them to viewers across various formats. So this is basically the ingest, and it's going to be coming from an encoder like OBS, or maybe a solid source like FFmpeg, though both of these, that can get really confusing when you see it in those terms, because they're not the same thing. Okay, FFmpeg is used by OBS, and OBS can be used alongside of FFmpeg as well, so don't confuse the two. They're two totally different platforms, but they are kind of interconnected and intertwined. Protocol support in this case, when it comes to Node Media Server, okay, it's great for real-time delivery, and it's good for gaming. It's low latency. It's really good for surveillance, and it has a high concurrency. The transcoding and recording, it can record the live streams as FLV files or VOD. Okay, and it supports real-time multi-resolution transcoding via what? The FFmpeg integration, which is that's what we're using now currently in AIO Relay. It includes the JWT based authentication, and you've got security, but part of the problem right now, let me show you. Let's get into Node Media Server v4 versus v2.4, I think it is. That's what we're using now. So v4 is a major breaking update that is not backwards compatible with version 2.4. It transitions the server to a modern streaming architecture while dropping support for older protocols and non-standard extensions. So we're basically looking at the core differences here now become the fact that version 2.4 was compatible with Flash Player. Now it's incompatible with Flash Player RTMP. Its standard then was H.264 and AAC. Now it's native HEVC or H.265, the VP9 and AV1 in version 4. It was using the FLV 265 standard for HEVC support. Now it's native. Okay, so it's incompatible with the old. And the management is basic API. Now it's on a REST API. Okay, this one is mature and stable, but it's no longer supported. And that's the problem with version 2.4. Development in early stage as of early 2025 was still where version 4. Was at. And with the new REST API at version 4.2, this one introduced the REST, added the JWT-based authentication, but the compatibility warning is not a simple upgrade. Okay, it is a destructive change. So we really thought about it, and I started to do some comparisons as like a drop-in. What could I do as a drop-in for Node Media Server 2.4? And I got two suggestions I actually wasn't expecting. So what I want to do is I want to do another comparison real quick. So I'm going to head over to Merlin. I want to talk to Merlin for a second. This is the bot that I normally use when I talk to it, but you know what? I'm just going to bring up GPT for a second, actually. We'll use the one everybody knows. So with regards to Node Media Server 2.4 versus 4.2 and the likes of, we're going to use Media MTK, I believe, or MTX, I think it is. And LiveForge. Give a comparison rundown of compatibilities and I'm going to say when utilized with FFmpeg. Okay, and I'm going to say 8.1 here because that's what I believe we're on now. Okay, let's see what it tells me about this, because I've been doing some interesting research on these things, and it's really kind of been, it's been something crazy. So Node Media Server, what is it built for? 2.4 was designed around RTMP ingest, 264 AAC, HTTP slave, dash generations through HLS, OBS style publishing, and FFmpeg relay transcoding subprocesses. This is the classic Twitch era architecture, okay? FFmpeg 8.1 compatibility status works well with 264 AAC, MPEG TS, RTMP, basic HLS, and FLV muxing. Starts breaking down with AV1, VP9 over FLV, HEVC, and FLV edge cases, enhanced RTMP codec signaling, WIP and WELP, which is basically WebRTC, and then well, at the end of the native pipelines, of course, and then you've got the SRT first workflows. So what are the problem areas? It's outdated, okay? We know that. We've always known that. But the fact of the matter is FFmpeg 8 is now heavily modernized, okay? Because NMS 2. Fundamentally assumes that RTMP is just H.264 and AAC that goes to FLV. That's it. That's all it thinks of. But now that it's got a lot of the SRT, the WebRTC, the Opus, the HEVC, and AV1, along with enhanced codec negotiation, NMS 2. Anything becomes increasingly brittle when newer codecs appear. So we knew we needed to do an update. Now we're going to leave the 1.2 version the way it is, only due to the fact that there may be some people that don't care, that all they're doing is RTMP And they don't worry about AV1. They don't worry about HEVC. They're not doing anything WebRTC based, though that's real live, real-time streaming. So in this case, it's kind of already a dinosaur, but it's a good dinosaur. It's like a strong dinosaur. It's one that's kind of rock solid that you shouldn't have to worry about. Once we actually pin that thing down, it's going to be a really solid tool, but for a specific purpose. So let's go back to what we're going to do, which is, so the FFmpeg relay model is fragile because it relies on spawning FFmpeg child processes for many of the workflows, which includes and creates zombie process risk, a memory leak under scale, sync drift, restart instability, and Windows process cleanup issues. So it becomes obvious with FFmpeg 8.1 because this FFmpeg is more threaded and more aggressive with hardware acceleration paths. Okay, so what we're realizing is that it's even more obvious because it's more threaded and more aggressive with hardware acceleration paths. So, poor future-proof codec support. NMS 2.x effectively tops out at what? H.264 and AAC. Okay. When you get into this stuff, it's hacking HEVC, it's weak in VP9, and it's basically unsuitable for AV1. So what do we do then? Node Media Server 4. This is where things get interesting. NMS v4 is almost a different product. What changed? They enhanced RTMP FLV v1, native HEV support was added, AV1 support was added, VP9 support was added, it improved FLV signaling, and OBS 29 plus compatibility. This maintainer explicitly states v4 is incompatible with v2. That matters. It sure does. So what do we get out of that? FFmpeg 8.1 compatibility is much better than v2, which we got away from pretty quickly. And it pairs far better with NMS4 than with V2. And that's where we're kind of stuck because we are currently pairing FFmpeg 8.1 with version 2 of NMS 2.4. And what that does is it gives you some possibilities. It does give you some support. It gives you more support for the modern OBS. And it's good, okay? But, I love how it sticks the but in there. Enhanced RTMP ecosystem fragmentation. So it depends heavily on enhanced RTMP FLV v1. And the broader ecosystem still isn't standardized. So yeah, it's got decent compatibility for OBS 29 plus, the decent compatibility for FFmpeg 8 point anything. It's inconsistent with VLC player. It's weak in browser playback, and older RTMP infra is broken. Along with the Nginx, when it comes to Nginx RTMP, it's incompatible completely. And the legacy CDNs, who knows? Probably unreliable. Flash era RTMP compatibility intentionally broken. It's really why, because Flash went away at some point. It was still being maintained to some extent, but nobody really wanted to deal with it anymore. There was just too many leaks. The maintainer explicitly removed old Flash RTMP compatibility. Okay, so if you rely on old RTMP players, embedded hardware, legacy ingest systems, or Wowza era compatibility, v4 can actually regress the workflow. Okay, that can cause more issues. It's still Node.js centric, which means it matters operationally because compared to Media MTX, okay, which is something we were considering, event loop bottlenecks are still possible in NMS4. GC passes are a yes. High concurrency is weaker, but multi-protocol routing is also weaker, which means the enterprise scaling is going to be weak. So NMS remains more of a developer-centric streaming server than a hardened media router. And I wasn't aware of that when I built using Node Media Server in the first place, that it was primarily a development platform. And that's where I blew it. I should have really did a little more research on where things were headed when it comes to things like Media MTX and LiveForge. So let's go down a little further and see what it has to say. Media MTX, official docs. This is the strongest modern option overall. Originally RTSP simple server, now real full-time media router. Okay. Why Media MTX pairs so well with FFmpeg 8.1? Because the support is modern. It natively supports the protocols, so that gives us a status of excellent with RTSP. RTMP is good. SRT is excellent. WebRTC is excellent. HLS is excellent. WIP and WELP are excellent. MPEGTS is excellent. And it's a massive architectural advantage because it's designed like a media router. It's not a node application pretending to be one, which is what we've been doing this whole time. So the distinction does matter. Version 8.1 strength with media MTX is now we have solid SRT support, which is extremely strong thanks to the contribution feeds, the remote production feeds, low latency ingest, and packet loss resistance, or resilience, I should say. NMS is nowhere near as mature here. Okay. WebRTC integration is dramatically better. Media MTX supports WIP, WELP, direct WebRTC publishing, and browser native workflows. Now, they didn't have the ability to use those as outgoing sources originally, but I believe they're working on that now. This aligns with where their streaming infrastructure is going. Codec flexibility. Media MTX handles H.264, HEVC, VP9, AV1, Opus, and FFmpeg 8.1 improves all of these. So huge bonuses going forward. Better Docker container workflows. Media MTX is extremely container friendly, even official images including FFmpeg variants. So this matters operational with Kubernetes, Docker Compose, orchestration, auto scaling, and edge deployment. Weaknesses of Media MTX. Not perfect. Browser playback still requires decisions. You still need to choose WebRTC, HLS, MSE, LLHLS, depending on latency goals. So some metadata edge cases, community reports mention metadata stripping, language track handling, muxing oddities, especially with SRT multiplexing. Not a turnkey CDN platform. Media MTX is a media transport router layer, not a full streaming SaaS, analytics stack, monetization layer, or UI platform. You're still architect around it. So it's more of, in our case, we're going to be sidecarring this as a load app, an app that's going to have to be constructed and loaded prior to and then offloaded at the end. LiveForge, watch this. So this is where we're going. We reviewed between the two, okay? And I haven't done like a really deep analysis of both of these products yet, but honestly, the name is part of what's drawing me to it, and I know that's not the right emotional stance to take on an app like this. But in my case, I use the term Forge in other places in my applications, and I think it works perfectly as the live Forge that I'm actually broadcasting through my AIO Relay app. It's I don't know, it's just kind of an irony. So I'm going to stick with it for now. Let's go into LiveForge, which is honestly, as I said earlier, I was hoping that the refactor wasn't going to be done until you guys got online. Check this out. I started this before I started the live stream. Okay, I had found the latest LiveForge handoff, which I put together for the agent to know what to do with the LiveForge refactor before it started. So the full plan was already in a text file document on the repo so that it would know how I wanted it installed when we made the refactor out and away from NMS into LiveForge. So I let my agent take it from there. What it basically came down to was, where would you like to start? Step one is basically getting the binary lifecycle into server.js. So we started with one, but we had a 10-step plan in order to do this. And by the time I started this stream, this 10-step plan was complete and all the files were done. 11 files changed. Everything had been ramped over. So as of the beginning of this stream, we have already refactored into version 2.0, which is just, to me, totally mind-boggling because that could have taken a week of developer time to actually thrash that out, get it done, and perform a solid refactor on an app that was already functioning under one architecture and completely re-architected under another installed repo that we pulled from GitHub to add in an entirely new node server that was going to run all of our backend media handling. That blows my mind completely. And the ability to do that with just a single prompt, I mean, this was a branch for LiveForge version 2. Here's the summary of the changes. What ended up changing? We added the LiveForge path for LiveForge HTTP port, which gives us the environment variables. We replaced 5 Node Media Server event handlers for the posts. express routes. We replaced the NMS get session, deleted the API stream key sessions, the HTTP calls to LiveForge API, changed the Xmonitor HTTP port, replaced the HLS runtime polling in Watchdog with LiveForge API stream health check, deleted monitor runtime JS with no ops, removed all relay state monitor fields, and deleted and stripped off all the FLV code from embed HTML and stream monitor JSX. So now I'm on step 9 and step 10, which will finalize the CL or the CI and the bundling, and then step 10, which will lock down the manifest and regenerate the exe files for version 2.0. That was all done in one morning. All right. And I know you guys weren't actually seeing what I was showing you on the screen because I didn't want to give away some of the content of the IP, but the idea was I was just reading off that list of files there as to what had changed during that last refactor, and you can kind of see here the work that was done while we were sitting here in real time. So let's just get back to one of the things we were just talking about on here, and that was what the advantages are to going with LiveForge. Okay. This is available out on GitHub. You can go check it out at the repo if you want to. I'll maybe leave the link in the bio on this when I'm done. I'm not one that does a lot of good follow-up on some of the videos that I do when I go live, but we'll see what we do. LiveForge style stacks tend to be FFmpeg orchestration layers, workflow engines, stream automation systems, or GPU pipeline managers. And this kind of went right along the lines of what I'm building, what I'm using it for. So I felt if anyone's following me or doing the things that I'm doing, then it's going to be along those lines. Where these systems excel, GPU transcoding is strong, the workflow automation is strong, the pipeline orchestration is strong, the cloud scaling is strong, along with the custom transcoding graphs. The weaknesses, which there always are something, okay? Usually weaker than Media MTX at protocol interoperability. Sometimes it's weaker. Low-level stream routing, weaker. Lightweight deployment, weaker. Edge simplicity, weaker. Okay, the big compatibility matrix. Let's look at it. FFmpeg 8.1 support is partial for NMS2. It's good for NMS4. It's excellent for MTX and excellent for LiveForge. RTMP latency. It's excellent on NMS2, mostly because it's a bake-in, okay? And that was the one reason we want to keep 1.2 live, because it gives us this excellent RTMP legacy. I'm sorry, did I say latency? Legacy feature that allows us to still tap all these older systems. NMS4 is medium. It's good on Media MTX. It's variable on LiveForge, okay? And when it comes to legacy, what are you going to do? Enhanced RTMP. Again, partial and variable on these sidecars. It's a definite yes when it comes to the NMS 4 point. SRT was one that we needed to look at. And this may even make, you know, I've done the LiveForge. Maybe I'll do another refactor from the main branch for Media MTX. Why not? I should, and test them both. I think that's a good idea, actually. Because of what I'm seeing in some of these, like enhanced RTMP, it's variable on LiveForge. And when I say LiveForge, it says LiveForge style, which is interesting because, let's see, it's overload. Oh, because the dependence, which LiveForge? Oh, I got you. Okay, so this is, yeah. We got to give them the right LiveForge. I didn't give them the ability to compare the right one. So let me do this. It's the naming that confused him. So we want to make sure we get the right one, and it's this one right here. I'm sorry. Nope. See, this isn't it. This is a different. That's. Let's go with the LiveForge. And we're gonna go with RTMP. That'll help. I'll get to the right one. There it is. Nope, that's not it either. Alright, I gotta find LiveForge again for some reason. I didn't have a problem finding it the other way. There it is. Okay, so this is the actual repo. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give it this. Okay, I'm going to have it redo that comparison because it wasn't. There's a LiveForge app that's available for just like computer development, and it might be might be messing with it. See right here. This changes the comparison substantially. You're referring to LiveForge GitHub. This is not a media router server in the same category or node. What are you talking about? Yes, it is. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what it says here. So this is not a media router server in the same category as Media MTX or Node Media Server. This is interesting. I didn't know that. LiveForge is much closer to an FFmpeg orchestration platform, a live workflow engine, a playout broadcast automation layer, a stream graph controller, a media processing backend that changes the orchestration discussion entirely. The real category separation. Node Media Server's role is a lightweight stream distribution, RTMP server. Media MTX's role is protocol native media router, and LiveForge is a broadcast transcoding orchestrating engine built around FFmpeg. That means LiveForge is not trying to replace Media MTX directly. In a modern stack, FFmpeg plus LiveForge, in a modern stack, FFmpeg is with LiveForge and MTX makes architectural sense. Wow, that's interesting. The big difference, Media MTX is transport-centric. It focuses on protocol translation, ingest, distribution, relay, low latency routing, and stream access. LiveForge is workflow-centric. It focuses on FFmpeg pipeline generation, live production logic, overlays, transformations, scheduling, compositing, transcoding orchestration, and automation. That's interesting. Ooh, this changes everything. I may be doing both. FFmpeg 8.1 compatibility recomparison. This is where LiveForge becomes very interesting because unlike Node Media Server, LiveForge is designed around FFmpeg itself. Rather than trying to abstract FFmpeg behind older RTMP assumptions, that makes it inherently more future compatible with FFmpeg 8. Node Media Server 2. Versus LiveForge. Architecture, core assumptions. We know this. It's legacy error. LiveForge, its FFmpeg is the media engine. This is much more modern. So FFmpeg 8.1 alignment is weak on NMS. It's excellent on LiveForge. GPU transcoding is limited on NMS. It's strong on LiveForge. Filter graphs, strong. Look at this, all the way down the line. Broadcast automation, HEVC workflows, AVI readiness, or AV1 readiness, sorry. Dynamic transcoding, overlay systems, multiple output workflows. That's really what we're looking for here. Filter graphs, okay? Major NMS 2.0 and capabilities with FFmpeg 8.1. So we can't keep this 1.2 stack running the way it is because it still assumes older FLV RTMP norms. 8 increasingly expects enhanced signaling, modern container handling, newer timestamp logic, and advanced muxing. So we knew it was going to break sooner or later. That at one point we were going to have to revamp this, and we kept telling everybody that as we were building it. We just needed to get the right upgrade path. Child process fragility. It spawns FFmpeg externally, which means LiveForge appears architected around it, which means the lifecycle management is there from the start. It matters enormously under reconnect storms, GPU resets, multiple stream concurrency, and long-running pipelines, which is typical of live event structures. Filter graph limitations. It has a massive filter graph power now, but it didn't when we were using 2. Whatever we had going before. Actually, the FFmpeg we were on was 4.6. LiveForge is positioned to leverage that, and NMS barely understands it architecturally. So Node Media Server 4. Versus LiveForge. This is the more interesting comparison because NMS 4 is modernized codec support, where NMS is improved. It added HEVC, AV1, VP9, and enhanced RTMP FLV. That's partially closing the gap. But the philosophies still differ. Okay, it's still stream server first on NMS, though this reduces the latency tremendously. LiveForge is fundamentally a media pipeline engine first. That distinction becomes huge with FFmpeg 8.x, which in this case, the future utilization for 8.1 Complex filter graphs are medium. Hardware acceleration, medium. NVMe on like RTX video cards, medium. VAPI workflows, weak. Multi-stage pipelines, weak. Compositing, weak. Automation, weak. Stream graph management, weak. Look at these. This is why we went this route. Okay. Excellent. Strong. Excellent. Critical architectural difference. NMS still thinks it streams. LiveForge thinks in media graphs. That's the modern direction. Okay. Especially for AI overlays, scene composition, automation, dynamic outputs, adaptive transcoding, and multi-destination publishing, which is what we're doing with AIO Relay. So Media MTX versus LiveForge. This is the real comparison, and this is where we may branch into two different versions of AIO Relay, where we will incorporate the older version 1.2. So what that means for us as a product. Version 1.2 will remain the old NMS 2.4. We're not going to upgrade to 4.0. It's not worth the refactor. It's not worth the pain in our ass to try and do that. It's just not, so we're not going to do it. We would rather stick with a sidecar product like this where we can keep the FFmpeg wrapped in an architectural structure that is modernized, okay? And that gives us the ability to go either way. We can go with the LiveForge or we can go with the Media MTX because they're both basically 10 megabyte, or I think it's like 10, what is it? I think it's only like, it's not 10 gig, it might be 10, no, it's 10 meg, I'm pretty sure, of a binary that's all it needs to run this. It's not that big a file. So the strengths here: ingest, routing, protocol translation, low latency transport, WebRTC, SRT, relay, edge distribution. Okay. LiveForge strengths: best at FFmpeg orchestration, transcoding logic, production pipelines, overlays, transformations, automation, workflow composition. Practical architecture: the strongest modern OSS stack is probably OBS cameras tied to an Media MTX ingest router, using LiveForge processing with an FFmpeg transcoding with Media MTX distribution. This is our goal. Okay. It's far more future safe than this OBS NMS to HLS garbage that we've been building all along. Why Media MTX and LiveForge is powerful? Because responsibilities are separated correctly. All right. So now what I need to do, what we've already done, is incorporated and included. All right. I'm gonna do something in front of you guys that I don't normally do with others, and that's I'm gonna show you some of the strategies that I use while I'm vibe coding. All right. And it's gonna be a little unorthodox because I'm using free systems over here. And this will kind of teach you how and why. All right. Let's see what its final word is here before we go there. FFmpeg 8.1 compatibility matrix revised. So this is based on the fact that now it knows what LiveForge we were talking about. We're sitting here. Okay, we're on I hate this phrase, NMS 2.x or 2.4 in our case, alongside of NMS 4.x, which we're not going to upgrade to because it's just not worth the lift. Nobody spent enough time on Node Media Server to make it worth the while, so we're not going to waste our time. Media MTX and LiveForge leapt ahead far above and beyond anything NMS was working on, so we knew that we had to go one or the other route. What was really interesting is as you go down this list, most of the stuff, and I didn't realize this, I thought LiveForge was actually better at SRT delivery than Media MTX at the time, and that's why I made the choice. So somehow this got muxed up, and I didn't realize what was going on because it says it's weak at WebRTC here, but they were really talking strong WebRTC, and that's why I went with LiveForge. So what I think I'm going to do, I got to look at something. Okay. I'm going to push this. All right, let's do this first. So I'm sitting in what I'm using right now. It's known as Big Pickle. You guys probably never heard of it. I'm using open code. So instead of VS Code or anti-gravity or Codex or anything like that, I'm using an app known as Open Code. It's very similar in nature to VS Code. I'm basically applying a free model that's given to us by using this, known as Big Pickle. A lot of people think it's GLM 5.6 refined or distilled, so not exactly sure, but this is a great model. I've been using it for the entire course of the year to build AIO Relay and my AIO Nexus. So it's been adventurous. I don't pay for it. not big pickle. I use it and I'll burn it up and I'll use up all the tokens I possibly can, and then I go on to something else. I work between Gemini, Flash. I don't use a lot of codec, or I should say I don't use a lot of Claude at all. I only use Claude now and again, which is available through codecs at times, and I barely touch it. I've never paid for it. I do just as good a work without codecs as without Claude as a lot of people say they can do with Claude. And I'm over Claude refactoring stuff on its own desires whenever it feels like it. I've seen it done. I've had it done to me. I don't know how many times. No matter how many times you guardrail Claude, it'll make up its own mind sometimes and just decide to do something anyway. And I do not like that at all. So I stay away from it. So what I'm going to ask here of the LLM right now that it's already refactored this, I'm going to take this report, okay? It's a compatibility matrix revised and everything. Because what I'm seeing here is the weakest thing. Like here, look at this. Broadcast automation, okay? It's weak as hell on Media MTX, but it's excellent on LiveForge. And you go to stream routing, it's excellent on Media MTX, but it's weak on LiveForge. So I've got a conundrum here. If I take one over the other, then I struggle with certain aspects that I really want to have built into this app, especially when it comes like scalability. Rocks right here. Containerization also. I could run these in Docker containers if I wanted to. But then you come over here and you see GPU orchestration and filter graphs not even available on Media MTX. WebRTC, I did not see this coming. I don't know why it's reporting that. From what I understood about LiveForge, it has really good WebRTC support, but maybe I missed something. And we're going to have to go back and kind of reevaluate that. But let's go down here. The main risk is maturity and stability with LiveForge. Okay, Media MTX is battle-tested, widely deployed, operationally mature. LiveForge appears ambitious, modern, architecturally smart, and FFmpeg native, but less proven, smaller ecosystem, fewer production scale deployments, likely more edge case instability, and that's normal for newer orchestration systems. Final practical recommendation, do not build new infrastructure around NMS 2.0. We knew that. That's why we moved, okay? And I'm just reading through the rest of the report here, sorry. So when we saw here is LiveForge is excellent on a lot of things, but there are some weaknesses between the WebRTC, SRT, and then, of course, the broadcast automation and stream routing are basically flipping coins on each side of that. So, final practical recommendation, do not build. We knew that. It's legacy era architecture. NMS 4.x only makes sense if you specifically need enhanced RTMP workflows, you control the entire ecosystem, you remain RTMP centric. I'm not RTMP centric, okay? I want the ability to use SRT. I want the ability to use WebRTC. I want the ability to use FLV, HLS, however, dash, whatever. If we want to switch up protocols and use the encoder in the most proficient way we can moving forward, that means giving you more than just RTMP, okay? Even though real-time media protocol has been around since who knows when, I'm not going to date it because it's been around longer than I have probably. Not really, but close enough. It's just one of those protocols that works. It's got a little bit of delay to it, but it's solid and it works. So we still use it, and there's a reason for that. So let's go back to the finality of this. LiveForge becomes, well, let's see. Media should probably be your transport backbone, especially for FFmpeg 8 point. LiveForge becomes extremely compelling when you need broadcast automation, compositing, overlays, dynamic scenes, FFmpeg graph orc. And what were we talking about this whole time? About possibly building an actual live streaming website out of this? This is why we would go this route, because that gives us some of that feature capability right off the bat. GPU transcoding workflows, AI video processing integration. This is what we want right here. Multi-destination publishing. The modern open source stack direction. The industry trend is increasingly transport layer, Media MTX SRS, processing layer, FFmpeg orchestration, LiveForge style, delivery layer, WebRTC, HLS, or SRT, not simple monolithic RTMP server. The older architecture is still dying outside legacy broadcast workflows. Okay, so that tells us everything. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to copy that last report. I'm going to bring it over here. Now, based on this evaluation, what would the lift be? Oh, let's do this. based on this evaluation. Stick the evaluation in there in quotes. Whoops. I don't need that GitHub reference. What would the lift be to add media MTX to this build? And we're just gonna have a good make sure edit no code at this time, just produce a report. Okay, let's see what it says, because I just finished a 10-step refactor that's not quite done yet. Okay, I still need to regenerate. I got to build the integration aspect for the CI bundling, but I want it to read this and come up with a means as to what might be the best route to take from this point on. Okay, because now that we're at a turning point, we're at a fork in the road. We've got to decide right now, is this the best build, and should we maintain even any aspect of what we already have, or should we incorporate even more of what we just realized and go from there? All right, here we go. We're getting the final results of the process right now. Looks like it could be a big lift. I probably shouldn't have finished the other build. I think what I'll do is I'll stay on this branch, because what it feels like is that if I just try to create like another branch using media MTX. Okay, so what does it decide? Let's go back up to the top of this. Here's a report on adding media MTX to the LiveForge v2.0 build. Current architecture: LLHLS, distribution, FFmpeg, RTMP, ingest, lifecycle, webhook based. Okay, so it's encoder, OBS, RTMP, LiveForge, go binary port 1935. It's being used as both the RTMP ingest server and the processing orchestration layer. This conflates transport with processing, which we don't want to do. Okay, so this is the key factor here. When we refactored for the ingest, it took the LiveForge as ingest and transport. So that means we've got to distribute this content out to another server. It would be better. Media MTX Go library 18,000, here we go, is a transport native media router. It speaks in all these languages with automatic protocol conversion. It is not a processing transcoding engine. LiveForge is a workflow native FFmpeg orchestration engine. It generates FFmpeg pipelines, compositing, overlays, and automation. They do not overlap. The evaluation recommended stack, which is OBS into media for ingest, into LiveForge for processing, and back into media MTX for distribution. That is the proposed architecture. That's the recommendation. So we're basically looking at building the entire stack using now 3 full apps. So what we thought was going to be a refactor into just one or the other, whether it was media MTX or LiveForge, now has suddenly become both, where we're just like, we've made the final decision to say enough is enough. We're not going to stop here. We're just going to go ahead and rebuild based on what the recommendations for future proofing are. And why not? If it's there and ready, available, the dependency to try and maintain any dependency on Node Media Server whatsoever would be ridiculous, honestly. And I'm glad we found this to be the case when we did, because at the level we're at with the production right now, it's done. The product's done. It's available. It's ready to be sold. It's ready to be used at its performance level now. And that's not what we want, okay? We don't want an RTMP native only ingest out that's going to die in a year because nobody's using RTMP native anymore, okay? It's going to take a while for YouTube to break away from that, I think, but they have other ways of ingesting video anyway, and they can transcode everything, so it makes a difference. If processing is not needed, like no overlays, no transcoding, Media MTX can serve the stream directly to the distribution target, skipping LiveForge entirely, which saves a lot. That's huge. So the port and process management now becomes LiveForge, and Media MTX is basically, it's with the 2.0, we'll move that to Media MTX. We'll move the 8080 to 8088 HLS or custom. I would say take that back to 8000, probably the way we had it. LiveForge 8080 for the API, and Media MTX will be on 999.7 for control, and then webhooks will post out of 3001 like they have been. And then Media MTX supports configurable hooks for HTTP callbacks on connect, publish, disconnect, so the existing webhook publish start and webhook publish end routes would work for both. So basically the files to modify, just just a few, not a lot. The binary bundlings will take place, same pattern as LiveForge. And it's good we're doing this now before we bundled in step 9 of the last build. Okay, that's where we were at before we started this. If you realize, if we go back here for just a minute, before we gave it the compatibility review, let's go back here. So right here you can see it was about to proceed with step 9, the CI bundling, and step 10, the lockdown manifest for the files that it had already updated. So we have LiveForge installed, again, as both ingest and process, so we don't want to leave it that way. We're just going to basically replace some of the processes. So here, where are we at? Right about here. Okay, right here. So with Media MTX handling transport, LiveForge becomes optional, only spawned when processing is needed for overlays, compositing, transcoding, automation. The default or direct relay path skips LiveForge entirely, is encoder, Media MTX, FFmpeg distribution. So let me see if we've got, this means monitor HLS will be served via Media MTX, battle tested, LLHLS, WebRTC playback via Media MTX, which NMS never supported. Low latency SRT, RTSP ingest also possible now, and LiveForge is on demand for advanced workflows. That is so cool. So the CI build changes, same CI pattern as LiveForge, which was step 9. Download the binary in the package build YAML, Tori appliance YAML, add to release manifest, watchdog adaptation, currently polling LiveForge API. We just need to change that for the MTX ingest. Effort estimate looks like 60, 70, 80, about 120, 180 lines. Says a day or two. Okay, watch this. This is going to crack you up. It needs to change 180 lines across 6 files. It says it's going to take 1 to 2 days, including testing. Okay, the trade-offs. Let's see what we have here. It's a pro because it's battle tested. The transport's 18,000 stars. The con is it's another binary to manage, another 15 meg. Okay, I said 10, so it's 15. Automatic protocol conversion, RTMP, WebRTC, SRT, HLS. It's overkill if you only need RTMP to HLS, but I don't. I want real-time WebRTC. That's been one of the things that, if you guys don't know me, I've been promoting WebRTC since day 1, since vMix 17 started, and they used their first vMix call system. And when we were scraping websites to try and capture video and put it into other streaming apps so that we could actually have talking head videos at the time, back in 2015, you'll know why this is so important, because to us it just is. From there, we've basically taken the WebRTC published playback, and NMS LiveForge cannot do this. Okay, so this is the huge thing that we wanted. It's another child process in the kill chain, okay, as far as the con, but this is where we can start converting. If we decide to take AIO Relay into a full build as a live streaming platform server, then we can do that because it's all there. We'll just have to scale. We'll have to build the green room. We'll have to build the heads up. We'll have to build the guest feature and things like that. But that's not our goal right away. The main goal was to have a local only, single operator business type operator using this to just get stuff done. Okay, it's not really about the talking heads here. And you'll see that in a minute when I show you that this is also a desktop capture device. Okay, this doesn't just stream from like OBS or vMix. You can stream right from the app. It's desktop capture, and we will add a video component to that as well. So if you just want to do quick pips and like you broadcasting heads, either just heads up or just desktop, you'll be able to do that real simple rather than having to go through a big old process to do that. It'll just be a few clicks and you'll be done. So you'll see what I mean shortly. So we got the native LLHLS, which is sub 3 second latency with no processing overhead. That's huge. That was really the biggest thing. They have the config complexity here that I was not looking forward to on YAML files. So I'm really glad that I caught this today. If I hadn't broadcast this today, I probably wouldn't have done so. And this is really one of those times that the irony kicks in. So hot reload without disconnecting clients, that's huge. LiveForge becomes optional, more code paths. Can skip LiveForge entirely for basic relay. It's an architectural change mid-refactor, okay, because it is something that we kind of have to do here. Recommendations. If the primary use case is RTMP HLS monitoring plus RTMP distribution, the current v1.2 behavior Media MTX alone can replace NMS with less complexity than LiveForge. It would be the simpler path. If the roadmap includes compositing, overlays, AI processing, or broadcast automation, then Media MTX plus LiveForge is the right stack. Media MTX handles transport, LiveForge handles processing. This is a stronger architecture but adds binary management overhead. The most pragmatic path, ship v2 with Media X and replacing NMS, dropping LiveForge for now, then add LiveForge as an optional processing layer in v2.1 when those features are needed. This avoids maintaining two Go binaries and their lifecycle management prematurely. I'm honestly not too worried about that because of the user base that I'm going to have. If I have to watch the processing layer in v1.2, I don't, hold on a second. Let me see. For the simple fact that LiveForge, and I could be talking to it, I guess. No, not in this case. Simple fact that LiveForge is already factored into the repo. What's the lift to refactor in the, oh, I already got the lift. Why would we remove it? Let me just make sure. Other than alright, let's see. For the simple fact that LiveForge is already factored into the repo, why would we remove it other than lifecycle updating? Fair point, he says. The lifecycle code, webhooks, binary resolution, signal handlers, all already written. Removing LiveForge now means throwing away that work for no benefit. The real lift to add Media MTX alongside is smaller than removing LiveForge would be. It's just another start media variant, pair 40 lines, same pattern as start LiveForge, another environment variable, binary resolution block, about 15 lines, a port allocation, LiveForge on a different port if processing is active, watchdog and capture source kick points for Media MTX API instead. LiveForge stays. Media MTX slots in front of it and transport when desired, and LiveForge handles processing when features demand it. The two binaries coexist. Media MTX as the always-on router, LiveForge on demand for overlays, compositing, and automation. Want me to proceed with implementing that? That sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Just ask it to proceed and go. And I think that's where we're going to go with this, because we've sat here all morning and watched it completely refactor in LiveForge. So now we're just going to go ahead and say yes, go for build, or I should say go for, I like to go for implementation as stated, and that way there's no confusion as to what it's doing, and recommended. Let's do it this way. So we'll go with that. The full media stack is to be. It's all of it, man. I just love it. Now watch what happens. It prepares. See, it's already completed the first 8 steps, and now it's going to complete 9 and 10 so that it can go ahead and finish the stack. But in the process, it's also going to go ahead and inject Media MTX into that. It's going to have to go find the build. It knows where to find it. It's battle tested. It knows all about it. Pretty amazing stuff, though, guys. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect to see myself here at this point today. Oh, here we go. Here, let me go back. It just rolled through the 12 things that it's going to do. So these are the 12 steps. Nice. Okay. So it's going to go through all that and finish that before it gets down to the end. Notice how it says 8 of 10 to-dos complete. It's because we never really finished step 9 and 10 of the other. But there's a reason for that. Because if I had, it would have done some build that it didn't need to do without the, it would have wasted its time on step 9. Because it would have done something that would have had to been undone anyway. Even though we did have to undo some of the ingest portions of using LiveForge, so anywhere where it was set up to receive the ingest into LiveForge from the OBS or the vMix or whatever, we're removing that because we now want to go with Media MTX instead. And then when we need the processing for overlays, AI, automation, anything like that, it will use LiveForge for that specific use case. Anything else will go right through MediaMTX in a hard, battle-proven system. Much better than Node Media Server 2.4 is ever going to be. Better than even considering implementing Node Media Server 4. Anything. So we made the right choice. We made the right decision, and it gave us a much better product in the end. And I think everybody's going to find that to be the case as they start to use it. So I can't wait to show this off. I think it'll be kind of exciting. Let's see. Yeah, this will be cool. So I'd like you to see how long this takes. All right, we're just going to flip the screen. I'm going to keep this recording going for just a moment. And I want you guys to see the steps. Now you can see where it restarted the list here. So now it's back to number 1. And then it's going to get back down here to the bottom before it ever finishes the rest of it and finishes the build. But it knew what it needed to do. It knew where it needed to go to get everything it needed. That's so wild. So it's updating the media paths from MediaMTX. And once it gets going here, I don't suspect it's going to take a long time for these files to get finished. Again, it's a 10, 15 meg binary. It's not a big file. Consider the fact that most games, right? Take a game like Call of Duty. That's 130 some gig of data. Gig. 130 gig. I'm talking 15 meg. Not 150 meg. Not 1.5 gig, not 10.5 gig, not 105 gig, 15 meg of file data. That's, you can't even fit a music, well, you can fit some music files on 15 meg, but not much. Actually, some files, let's see. What's a music file run nowadays? If I go to my music files, I don't have size listed on these, do I? See, that's 8 meg right there. So 2 music files. Not even. Some music files are bigger than that. I mean, there are some music. Let's see. There's some alt rock files that I got. Let's put size on here. Yeah, there's one that's almost 10 meg right there. Hoobastank. Inside of me. Inside of you. That's literally almost as big as this entire file. One song. Look at that. It's done. That's it. It's finished. We just refactored 2.0 to MediaMTX. Now, look at that. MediaMTX is now integrated alongside LiveForge. Here's the architecture on the branch. Dude, that is freaking cool. So what does that mean? That means we need to try it, right? So what are we going to do? Maybe we'll do a code review, but first thing I'm going to do is, okay, go for pre-build, or wait, I'm going to go run pre-build, or go for pre-build. This is how I typically do this. Go for pre-build checks. If pass, because I have a list of pre-build checks it has to go through. Then go for build. Oh, I do it like this. If pass, then go for build. And we're going to use I'm going to want to save these files first. Hold on. So I've got another v2. I want to slide off to the side so it doesn't overwrite it by accident. I created this file last night at 9 something at night. I'm going to move that out of the way, or at least copy it. Okay, I got a copy of it now. Okay. So I'm going to pass go for build, create v2.0, oh, go for build. And we might wipe out the old RTM altogether, who knows. Let's see what happens with this build. Go for build v2, and then we're going to verify clean repo. Verify clean branch. Alright, let's try this. It's doing the pre-build checks right now. And when it's done, it's going to start to build. It's going to take a while to do the build. So, here, I'll take you back for just a second. You can see here on the stack, it says run pre-build checks for lint, pre-flight tests, and verify locks. And then it's going to build 2.0 if the checks pass, and then it's going to verify a clean branch state. And then we'll be able to push that back to the branch and save it. Or we'll push it right to main and call it version 2 and leave it at that. Because we have backups of the older repos. Actually, one of them I just kind of, now that we have the branches, I can go ahead and build off of these. All checks pass, 0 ES lint errors, pre-flight okay, 13 to 13 tests pass. Let me clean up the 4 unused variable warnings since those are no-op stubs from the removed monitor pipeline. Then proceed. All right, that's where we're at. So as this finishes up, I'm going to wrap it up. Been really enjoying my time out here, letting you guys kind of see the overall development process of what's been happening with AIO Relay. As you can see, it's been an ongoing thing since back at the end of last year. And honestly, it's been a fun journey building AIO Relay. It's something I will continue to use. Even though I'm broadcasting out of Emix right now to perform this broadcast, you will see me using AIO Relay quite often once we finish up this refactor and get it to a stable point where it's in a usable fashion. Here, let me do one thing while I have you here. Let's see if this version will even, that I already have installed. I think I have one installed, yeah. So let's fire this up for a second. I want you guys to see it without actually sending a feed to it. I think I can do this real quick. Oh, no, I have to still validate the license thing on that. So we're going to mess with that later because I haven't reinstalled. I had an issue with the validation servers the other day on the latest install that I created, and I haven't reinstalled over that. So let me do that. I want you guys to see kind of the install process, if it'll work for me here. Just hope I don't accidentally close vMix or anything. All right, uninstall, uninstall. Okay, should be able to do this. Let me get the file over here. I'm gonna start it up. So we're gonna go ahead and make some changes to the device. This is basically how it starts. You get a 4-choice of installation, which is install and update and leave the data files, or you can actually remove saved profiles, or go ahead and just wipe everything kind of thing, or do a profile reset only, which would just basically keep all of the install but wipe the profiles, which you could do that manually if you wanted to. So I may pull that out of there. I tend to put it in a portable folder for now because this is not location specific. You can place it anywhere on your machine that you want, being that it is somewhat of a portable install. And not tied directly to Windows in any way, dependency wise. Because it's an appliance app, you can kind of install it anywhere. Alright, once it's done installing, which only takes a minute, it's installing FFmpeg and FFmprobe inside your system. So when we start it, this is what happens. You might not see it right away. Yeah, okay, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, because it starts on the main screen, it's a little difficult to show you guys that way. Let me flip back over to my main screen for a second. Okay, this would be the one. I wonder if that one even shows up, does it? I think it does. No, it doesn't, because it's a it doesn't even show up on the screen. Look, you don't see it. So it's there. If I hit run relay, it's giving me options, but you can't see the overlay because it's a system overlay. So that's interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. It's not showing up through the feed. It just doesn't display because it's an overlay on the main thing. So when you open the app, you basically get a choice of whether you want to use an encoder or a playlist, or select a display window and just kind of do a desktop capture type thing. So in this case, I'm going to set it up for encoder and then move the device back over so you guys can see it. Okay. So here is AIO Relay. Are you ready? Let's find it. Oh, you know what? It doesn't show up in display. That's hilarious. It's because it's a Tory build. I'm going to have to... Oh, no, it's not refreshed. Okay, let's try refreshing the display. That's all it is. It wasn't... Okay, that's it. It wasn't refreshing the display like it should. Okay, so this is AIO Relay. There's no ingest coming into the feed right now, but I might be able to send one to it. Let me see what I can do here. I have a 3. I might be able to start 3 if I do an RTMP feed. Send that out to a local. Let's go 127.0.0.1. And then just a little key of one. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just playing. I'm inside vMix and I'm setting up a stream on my third feed to see if I can actually send it to this. Now when you send it, you don't send it with an RTMP-S. You only send it with an RTMP because it's local. You don't need the secure server over the top. It will distribute RTMP-S out of FFmpeg. So let's save and close that. And then let's see if I can actually start 3. Let's see what it does. There it is. Okay, so the ingest has started. You can see here, so I'm sending a third stream from vMix. All I did was I added my third stream from vMix and I started it. It's very simple. Custom RTMP server, RTMP 127.0.0.1, and on a stream key of whatever you choose. In this case, I just use 1234. If I want to view the actual stream coming through, I simply click on this here, and what you'll find is this is not working right now because the ingest feed was something that we were dealing with. This was part of the problem. Let me try and reload the ingest real quick and see if it will refinish it. It's part of the cache. The HLS cache is it's going so fast because it's baked in that it's getting the connection data that it needs as far as the metadata, and then it thinks that it's already connected, and then it starts to loop a blank screen over and over and over again. Basically is what's happening because it's getting cleared too fast. All right, and there's been a real tough time over fixing that, so I'm going to flush the cache. Some little sound effect I added in. You can see it's live, the feed's there, and if I were to actually start a location, if I wanted to send this thing out somewhere and wanted to open up the platforms, this is where the platform cards come in the aisles where you want to locate them. So here I've got setups for Best Live TV, Best AI TV, and another YouTube channel that I don't think even has a setup on it. Let me see. Oh, there's a stream key there, so I'm not sure which stream key that is just yet. Oh, that says Best AI TV, so I must have made 2 of them. Let's see if I get the right one there. Yeah. Okay, so we got 2 Best Live TVs on there, or Best AI TVs. But normally you'd see the ingest feed come through here, okay? And you'd be able to hear it as well while it's coming through, and you'd be able to see the audio feed. But right now it's trapped. It can't make it past the ingest. And part of that's my own fault, and it's part of the reason we started the refactor this morning in the first place. I just wanted you guys to see the operating system itself as to how it's evolved over the last several months. Settings features are what they've always been, but again, this comes down to a very elaborate system that has been built on a solid framework of several different platforms. And so as we get going with this latest refactor, we're going to have to change some of the settings capabilities thanks to MediaMTX and LiveForge. So we'll make sure we add those in. I feel that sneeze now. Excuse me. One more time. I'm not going to try to cut the mics. It would have just caused a disaster. Okay, so the biggest thing about this platform that we've granted to users is the ability to use not only a dedicated stream, but also a T platform stream or a hybrid combination of both, which would mean a dedicated stream, you can confirm as many dedicated stream destinations, which is basically an individual instance of FFmpeg each time, solid of its own accord, taking control over that exact stream of and in total control of that simple single FFmpeg stream. A T that you see here, these blue T's, or a T stream, is a manifold stream. It's you start with 1 point of ingest, you send out 1 point of exhaust, you might say, into several branches, and it's a single point of failure. If one feed breaks, they all break. Okay, but it's great for like confidence monitoring, back-end production monitoring, things that you are sending to multiple locations that are just there for confidence or keeping an eye on things. As far as live production processing, you're better off with the dedicated streams, because that way if one goes down, you can just push off that stream to somewhere else or maintain the other 4 or 5 streams you're running at a time. It depends again on your bandwidth as to how many streams you can run dedicated. So if you have 2.5 or a 10 gig network, you can certainly do more than 5 streams. This is based on a 1 gig platform. Okay, you can see here a flashing OK. That just means there's no bandwidth going in or out of this right now. If I were to fire one of these streams over here, now it has power. there's things going on, but what's blocked is that the feed is somehow not getting through the system. So there's warnings of state throughout the platform. If something's breaking, something's not working right, it will let you know. Now, when it says blocked, that means there's something stopping the stream. Oh, it's showing up as my 2.5 gig network, which is what it is internally. And you can see the streaming net difference of content, but for some reason the throughput over here is not showing up. So that would be the ingest throughput. And then you've got the net crossover here. It looks like it's doing about 24 megabits per second up on the speed test. We also could check that and verify, but that's probably what we're dealing with. If I wanted to head over to, let me see here. I want to head over to Best Live TV real quick and just see. Okay. Let's see what we got. YouTube. See if it shows up. No, Best Live TV YouTube. What's going on, dude? All right, hold on. I just want to get over there and see if there's actually a feed. There should be a feed running out there right now. But I want to see what it looks like because I'm not sure. Let me switch over to Best Live TV real quick. Oh yeah, there's a live feed there. Look at that. Oh no, that's on the other one. Oh, because I'm watching Best Live TV. Duh. Alright, let's see. Nope. No stream going out there right now that I can see. Even though it says it is. Let me see. Oh no, it does say block, but it says live over here. Let me see. Meh. Hard to say, to be honest, man. Let me do a reload of ingest. It's blocked for some reason, so I'm not sure what that is. It might have been the... I'll have to check. I'm not sure. It says it's live, but it's flashing live, so it should be playing up. But because it's blocked at the ingest, it's likely not finishing. So I just wanted to see. What I'm looking at here is I'm seeing it's blocked on the bandwidth monitor. The bandwidth is going through and operating at 10 to 20 megabits per second. Says it's live on Best Live TV, but we're not seeing the feed on Best Live TV. So that's a weird situation that we got to deal with. Again, one of those things when it comes to vibe coding, you might have to go back and check. Why is this flashing? It's probably just because the feed's open. We'll close that. Now it's okay. So it was blocking. Something's blocking the feed leaving there. So we'll check on that in a bit. System ready, system latency, system maintenance, system bandwidth. Everything about the system is available on the API health meter. So if you wanted to add your own little routines, but if you click over here on the AIO, that's going to close the screen. All right, and it's going to put it down in the corner so that you can't find it, but you can actually bring that back by recovering the IO from the little taskbar menu down there. And then if you hold this button, this is what you get. This is everything about the live ops system so that you can see what's actually taking place, where the feeds may have been disabled, what reasons were broke on YouTube. You can see here the state is disabled, and as to why, we'll have to go back and double check, but it's likely just something in the last code burn that we did. So this gives you all the connections. It'll connect to the API base so that you can read the API connections throughout the app, and we've got several of those, so you can kind of maintain the whole thing through APIs if you wanted to. All right, that's it for now. Looks like our stream's going to break. Let me close the stream on 3 because we're pushing a lot of bandwidth here. Let's stop 3. That's the one that's giving me a problem anyway. Stop that stream. It's a heavy burden on the system here right at the moment. It's trying to stop it. There it goes. Okay, finally finished that one. And we'll just close this app out for now. Shut down relay. And proceed. And we're back to the vMix. We'll bring that over here and call it a day, guys. I think we're making great progress. I can't wait to see. Okay, let's see where it's at on the refactor. It's not done yet, obviously, but let's take a look. So it's gotten to, oh, it's got some questions. Regenerate lockdown manifest to reflect all v2.0 changes, modify. Oh, okay, we need to allow the lock update. Let's go for that. So it didn't really get started. It's going to verify. Oh, yeah, it did most of the stuff already. Very cool. I think we might be done already. Yeah, manifest verified successfully. All done. Here's the final. What do we got? State of the Branch LiveForge version 2.0. We're going to rename that. All 10 steps complete. The NMS Media MTX LiveForge migration is fully integrated. Can you believe that, guys? Okay, let me explain why I can't believe this. I sat talking with an AI agent one day about this refactor and what it was going to take to convert a Node Media Server build of a React.js app into either Media MTX or LiveForge. And it was giving me 1 to 2 day refactors, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes we look at it at face value as to what a human would take to perform that same task. And yet, you just watched in a period of less than 2 hours, not even, 1 hour and 40 minutes. And part of it partially was already completed before we even got the live stream going, which was the refactor from 1.2 into the first v2.0 using LiveForge. And then we decided that wasn't enough. After some heavy evaluation of both of the Go implementations, which are both simple binaries of 10 to 15 meg each. Now we have to maintain stability on those apps because they're being built by third parties. They are not our code, okay? And that is where the dependency that it warned about is partial to, what is it going to do to our build down the road? Could LiveForge break? Could it go away? Could it fall apart? Node Media Server's still hanging on as a V4, but it's not anything like it was in V2, so a lot of people dropped it. And so looking at Media MTX, which is where everybody went, and we weren't about to immediately, but then we realized, whoa, wait a second. It's the ingest that's important here when it comes to Media MTX. And also some of the, just the outgoing feed, the destination feed. And I think what we lacked and didn't realize right away with LiveForge is that was really an accessory processing engine for overlays, for transition work, for pip work, for AI automation work, which I'm really excited about because I have not studied that app enough to know what it's truly capable of yet. What I'm seeing now, which what I thought was, rather than an orchestration layer, was more of an actual node server, I'm kind of blown away as to what this could possibly become right away, since we've already got the refactor done. So what did we get? All done. Here's the final state of branch. All 10 steps complete. The NMS Media MTX LiveForge migration is fully integrated. LiveForge cycle is the spawn kill term. Webhook routes replaced NMS event handlers. Capture disconnects via Media MTX API. The monitor HTTP port, Media MTX HTTP port, has been replaced. The watchdog polls now Media MTX the API. Deleted the monitor runtime JS, stripped the process reps. We removed NMS dependency patch, configured the added package assets for both binaries. The FLV.js was deleted. It is now HLS only in all views, so we've pulled away completely from FLV, which is huge. That's one of the old things holding us back, really, to be honest. CI workflows, download LiveForge and Media MTX on build. And then the lockdown manifest was regenerated with 286 files verified. The branches had 14 files changed, 248 lines net of code changes with all checks passing. So the locked files updated were the server.js, the package JSON, the public embed HTML, the public index HTML, and some of the public docs. Everything's verified against the updated manifest with 4 changed files. Now watch this. Update the website to reflect all these changes. And mark this evolutionary future-proof update. Update status page accordingly. Okay. So do not change website design. Okay, the working code environment changes. All right, here we go. So this is going to update the website to reflect all of these v2 changes and mark this as an evolutionary / future-proof update. Update the status page as well. Do not change website design as to UI UX, but make it better and more complete as to the working code environment that we just made today. And so it's going to go ahead and update the website so that everybody's aware that we now have a v2 available. This is going to get exciting, guys. For anyone watching the stream today, if you mention the fact that you were here and hung out with me and you send me a DM, I will let you come hang out with us during the final testing of this process. Give you a copy that you can play with for a little bit and see what you think. So let me know anytime that you're watching these videos and you think this is something you want to check out. Just give me a DM and we'll go from there. This is Leland Best of Best Live TV hanging out with you today as we completely rebuilt AIO Relay to create version 2.0 from version 1.2, which was originally running on Node Media Server 2.4 and FFmpeg 8.1, which was going to be a nightmare down the road. So we've decided to pull Node Media Server completely from the system. We are now running on a combination of FFmpeg, Media MTX, and BiForge. So really looking forward to how this app is going to function going forward. Once we get done here with these latest updates, you should be able to find a download available on the website, though the only way you're going to get it is to get your hands on it through Stripe. So it's just the way we operate around here. You'll get the free trial in some cases. If you want to test it first, you're going to have to talk to me. We feel that the strength of this build speaks for itself. We're not going to argue over returns on this. We're going to be giving this app away for nearly dirt cheap because honestly, people are paying for these types of apps on a monthly basis, and we're not asking for monthly revenue off of this app at this time. We may in the future, but what we're offering people at the start of this process is to purchase the app outright for a one-time fee. This week, during the promotion of v2.0, we're going to be selling the app for $100. That's going to be a first, and it's going to be the only time that we're going to run this app for this cheap. The normal operating price for this app is a one-time price of $250 basically. So I look for even numbers. I hate $249. I hate $99.99, all that stuff. Just it's either $100, $250, $500. Those are the numbers I like to work with. So in the case that we will be updating for playlists. Playlists are available. Now we haven't made it something that, if you wanted to run like a full day of streaming, you can. You can just upload all the videos to the system and put them in a folder and let it play. It'll play all day. The idea to have some themes and some extra, glowy, brandy effects for other people to kind of brand it themselves, which we gave the ability to do on the app already. We're not going to white label this app, so don't ask me to. I just won't. It's my app. It's AIO Relay, and it will remain AIO Relay. If you want to white label it, you can build it yourself. And a lot of people will try to build this app using a vibe coding system. It's not going to happen, guys. I don't care how hard you try. You're not going to build this app in the same fashion that I did. This is an appliance app. It's built in a Tori builder, which means it's built originally in Vite and React.js. It's put together as a compilation, and then it's compiled using Tori and put into an installer. So it's a whole different ballgame than just creating a vibe-coded SaaS app on some platform like Base 44. This is not the same process, okay? Just so you guys know that. This is true AI coding at not necessarily its best, because I'm not a true data analyst coder at this time. I did my share of coding back in high school. I was an independent study computer student. I was doing basic DOS, Fortran, Pascal, C, that type of stuff. As new coding languages became about, I was into HTML and a little bit of PGP and things like that. But, I got out of that stuff. I wasn't architecting software. Look at that. It's done. So my entire website's updated. Let's go take a look at how that turned out, because I'm really curious. So let's head over here to Go, or just AIO Relay, sorry, .us. See what we get. A reload. Did it give us a 2.0 update of any kind? I don't see it. Did it not just change? Yeah, I don't see anything. Let's check the status page. It didn't update anything there. What the heck? Oh, no, I gotta load it. That's right. Okay, I didn't have the automation set up. So you're not seeing the actual page yet? Let me go in over here. I wasn't thinking. That's actually in the wrong place. I was looking at the hosted website. I'm just going to go over here right now. This is the website that was actually created just now. Let's see. Is this the latest? Yeah, okay. UI 2 version 2.0 marker. Update since 1.0. There's the 2 migration right there. Look at that. So, there it is. We hardened it back on 3.16, which was the shared model positioning, scroll behavior, and some other stuff that we got fixed up. Now we have the migration from Node Media Server to Media MTX Transport and LiveForge process. NMS fully removed. No legacy runtime, no patches, no dependency. FLJS deleted. HLSJS remains as the only browser playback path. Webhook-based event handling replaces in-process NMS listeners. Media MTX serves native LLHLS for monitoring and exposes a REST API for stream lifecycle management. The watchdog and capture source disconnect now pull the Media MTX API instead of HLS runtime or NMS session state, CI workflows, download Media MTX and LiveForge binaries at build time. This is an evolutionary, future-proof foundation. You like the way that coded in there? Made it sound like the AI said that, and that was really my exact words. So we'll be going through as well in this case, and it looks like here as far as accomplishments for V2, we now have Node Media Server fully replaced by Media MTX as an RTPM ingest with LLHLS serving REST API and LiveForge, as an optional overlay compositing agent. Both binaries managed via spawn kill lifecycle with temporary YAML config generation for Media MTX. Oh, that's weird. 5 NMS event handlers, pre-connect, done connect, pre-publish, done publish, replaced the 2 webhook endpoints, replaced by 2 webhook endpoints as publish start, publish end. Capture source disconnect migrated from NMS get sessions reject to delete, and that's through the Media MTX API. Monitor runtime fully removed, backend monitor runtime JS deleted. Watchdog migrated from HLS runtime polling to Media MTX API health checks, and vendor file and all FLV playback code stripped from Stream Monitor, JSX, and embedded HTML. HLS only monitoring via HLS.js. So we'll be pulling the FLV playback buttons on the embed codes as well, because these won't be necessary in V2. It's part of the UI interface that we'll have to change. Node Media Server removed from package.json, patch package, and post install script eliminated, NMS patch file deleted, and Media MTX plus LiveForge binary paths added to package assets. CI workflows for the appliance are updated to download both binaries from their respective GitHub releases at build time. Lockdown manifest regenerated 286 files verified to reflect all V2 changes. Pre-build checks ESLint, pre-flight, byte build, test suite, all passing with 0 errors. Net change 248 lines across 14 files. So I'm pretty excited. This was the build. This was the completion of everything that we just did today. I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to fire it up. So what we're going to need to do is do the rebuild. Now that we have the rebuild, let's see what we have. The source docs were used from there, so let's head over to our file locations for NSIS, and here it is. Oh no, that was from 9/11. Let's see, we got to do the build now because we have this set up. So now we just need the build. Let's see what we got here. Go back to our UI here. I think it's still building it actually. Install H references updated 2.0 media mentioned in LAD mode descriptions, footers updated, core pipeline, recovery controls, version 2.0. Version markers are all set. Update paths are all set. That was all the update for the website. Okay, let's see. Go back up here. A lot of code, man, I'm telling you. Let's see now, update status. We'll have to see the rest of it later. I can't wait to see the rest of the page. Okay. So what did we get? Locked, updated, latest agent handoff. Oh, that was the other one. Everything verified against the updated manifest. Package build, Tory appliance, index. Okay, where did it put it? Oh, okay. No, that's right. Pre-build pass fully included viability. Warning about FOV reference. Let me clean up FOV. The root and read the CLI. Workflows. Did it not finish it? Pre-build passed fully. Pre-build. Okay, hold on. Tory appliance, run backend, CLI workflows. You need to understand the build scripts. Oh, it just went ahead and did the lock update, it looks like. Okay. Oh, okay. So it did. It just did the lock. Okay. So let's do the build. Now that we've got the website up, and again, we're going to do, okay. Go for pre-build. Checks. If passed, go for build of v2.0. Verify clean repo. After build. See what we get. See if it can build it. Okay, cool. It's on its way. So that's it. And that's how you basically do it. Now, this is going to run, and then we're going to basically push this to get on the branch for now. We're going to maintain the main v1.2 just until we lock this in and make sure it's working properly. That way we at least have a working app, even though nobody's signed up for it. Again, we'll be giving this app out at a reasonably dirt cheap price over the course of this following week to kind of just brood in v2.0. We're going to be giving away what normally is a $250 app for $100 for the rest of the week. And as we do so, we'll be playing with it as we go during the week so you guys can see how it's installed, how it's done, how it works, things like that. So looking forward to letting you guys see all this stuff. I can't wait to start actually broadcasting with it because that's been my dream, is to actually use it in production. Looking forward to that. So this is Leland Best coming to you from Best Live TV and Best AI TV. If you ever want to find out a little bit more about how we do things, check out the Best AI podcast over at Best Live TV, or Best AI TV, I'm sorry. And we're going to be reformatting some of that stuff. The AIO brand has been tremendously condensed. And speaking of AIO, before I go, I want to at least put a bug in your ear. I'm going to show you what we've been working on. And I know we've talked about it, but we haven't really brought it to light much. If you really want to see it, go to goaio.us, and that's where you're going to find AIO Nexus. Oops, I picked the wrong window there for some reason. If you head over to goaio.us, you will find AIO Nexus, our new neural operations core, is active. If your CRM needs humans to run it, it's broken, and we're going to prove it. By the time we get done with this particular platform that we're building over here, you're going to see what Cortex is all about. It's more about brand awareness and building a platform on an AI infrastructure that's going to allow, and there's no demo on the site yet, but we will be getting there. This Neural Cortex is a complete CRM suite with a visual flow builder, with multi-provider AI, a comms hub, signal orchestration as to what's happening within your system, a system-aware agent named Charlie that runs the show from the back end. She handles an agent coordinator known as Alpha, who then has control over 12 individuals, subordinate bots that are there for your using, along with a neural media pipeline, which is truly amazing for transcription, translation, TTS, and automated publishing. And once we incorporate the key features and capabilities of AIO Relay into this build, you're going to see some magic happen. So I can't wait to let y'all see it take place in real time. All right, this is Leland, taking off for now. Leland out. See you next time.